What's going on, guys? So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I ate and trained when I first started working out compared to how I eat and train now and everything I learned along the way. So the first thing I'm going to be talking to you about is how I ate and how I trained when I first got into bodybuilding. And when I first got into bodybuilding, I actually started off in grade 9. I actually found the weight room and started training 3 to 4 times a week, and I actually saw really good results. Now, even though I was seeing good results, my diet was not on point, meaning I would go to McDonald's for lunch and I would have a junior chicken, I would have McDoubles, and I would go home after and have pretty much rice or whatever my mom was cooking. Now that was pretty much my diet. I had no protein, I didn't know how to track my calories, and that's how I first started training. Now when I first started seeing results, I actually got super motivated and I wanted to increase my results. So I actually looked up how to build more muscle, and the first thing that I saw was protein. So I realized that I should go to GNC and buy my first tub of protein, which is what I did. Now, I bought my first tub of protein, which is the BSN Synth 6, which was honestly the best tasting protein that I've ever tasted to date. I would take 2 scoops post-workout, and I would finish that off with the junior chicken as well. At that time, my diet was still not on point. After that was when I went into university, and I was still consistent with my training, but I really wanted to take it more seriously. So I started training actually 5 to 6 times a week, and my main goal was to put on as much size as possible. Now, I started going on YouTube and I was watching a lot of videos from Jay Cutler, Rich Piana, Cali Muscle. A lot of what they talked about was you gotta eat big to get big. I would often see Jay Cutler pounding down food. I would see Rich Piana eating as much food as possible, like eating 6 to 8 meals.
My goal was just a lot of food, and I would eat 1,000 grams of carbohydrates a day, and I would eat 300 to 400 grams of protein a day. So I went by those numbers. So I knew a breakfast, and I would eat probably 6 to 8 meals a day.
That was my goal. I was just like, let me just get as big as possible. So what I did was I bought a weight gainer, which was Quick Mass. I would take 4 scoops of that. I would also have Hero Burger post-workout, and then I would go to the grocery store. I would get a whole loaf of white bread with milk, and I would make as many peanut butter sandwiches as I could until I couldn't eat anymore. That was pretty much my diet in university. And it actually worked really well. I saw a lot of results in terms of my strength. My bench press, my squat, my deadlift had progressed like crazy, and my weight had gone up as well. Now, aside from my diet, my training was never really structured. I would just go in and pretty much, I didn't have a specific day on which muscle group I should train. I really just went with the flow. And I would often hit pretty much chest like 3-4 times a week because I always just wanted the biggest chest in the world. So aside from not having any specific days or schedules in terms of my training, I didn't really track the amount of volume, my sets, my reps. I just pretty much went in there mindlessly and just hit everything. I focused a lot on upper body, and I really didn't, to be honest, I didn't train legs in the beginning. So I was really upper body dominant, and I pretty much neglected those body parts because I would often train what I really liked. So that was, for me, chest and arms. So one of the first mistakes that I made early on in my diet was, because I watched Jay Cutler and Rich Piana, I would always eat as much as I could, and I would almost force feed myself. Now, I realized that you don't have to eat that much. You can eat in a slight surplus, but I ended up gaining a lot of fat aside from all the muscle that I had built. Now, another mistake that I made was that I would often eat a lot of processed foods, such as the weight gainer from the Quick Mass, the Hero Burger, a lot of fast food, and I wouldn't focus on the whole foods that were high in micronutrients. I really didn't care about the nutrient aspect because I just wanted to get as big as possible. Now, the last mistake I made was that I would never really track my food. So that being said, I wouldn't have enough protein in my diet, and my fat would be through the roof. So this is actually the exact weight gainer that I took back in university. This is what I would use to wash down my peanut butter sandwiches. Now, this weight gainer is actually a really good weight gainer. I would actually take 4 scoops a day. Now, the issue with taking 4 scoops was that 4 scoops is an extra 1,000 calories. So if my maintenance was, say, like 2,000 and I throw in 3,000 calories, yeah, I'm gonna get strong, but I'm also gonna get super fat. So that was my main downfall, was that I was pushing way too many calories too soon. How you wanna use this weight gainer correctly is you want to slowly ease into it by doing 1 scoop and then slowly going up to 2 scoops. When your weight stops moving up, then 3 scoops. Usually week by week, you make small increments instead of just going full force and throwing 4 scoops right off the bat, which is what I did. Now, I would actually recommend this weight gainer to high school kids or uni kids who have a lot of trouble eating and they don't have the appetite. Something like this is super easy to down because it's liquid and it tastes good. It literally tastes like a milkshake. So what I learned in the 8+ years of training and dieting was that I learned how to track my macros, I learned how to track my micros, I switched out my processed foods for whole foods, and I completely revamped and restructured my training program. So I think the most important factor in building a good physique was actually learning how to track macros. Once I built that muscle from that serious bulk, I figured out I was fat and I actually had to cut down. So I would be on YouTube and I actually found a YouTuber, his name was Matt Ogus, and he was an up-and-coming natural bodybuilder back in the day. He always talked about tracking macros. So I would watch him and I actually learned how to track my macros. I used this website called MyFitnessPal and I would start logging pretty much my diet for the day, and I've been logging since 2014 up until now. So I can pretty much tell you the exact thing I ate on, say, like December 25th, 2014 or February 1st, 2015. I've been tracking every single day. So the benefits of tracking your calories is that not only you can track your calories, but you can also track your macros, where you can actually track the amount of protein you're getting in, which is very important. So I would make sure that I'm getting minimum a gram, but I'd always aim for 1 to 1.5. I would always try to get 1.5 in if I was training. So that's something that I would always shoot for. And if I wasn't tracking my calories or tracking my macros, I would have no idea how much protein I'm getting in. Now, what I also learned is how important it is to track micros. Now, micros is the amount of nutrients you're getting in through your food. When I was younger, I wouldn't focus on micros at all because I didn't care. As I've gotten older, I pretty much focus a lot on getting in my veggies, getting in my multivitamins, making sure that I'm hitting my micros and not just my macros. Now, in terms of my diet, I pretty much don't eat that much fast food anymore. If anything, I would eat fast food maybe once a week as a cheat day. Other than that, I try to stick with whole foods, mainly because my stomach can't really handle it, to be honest. When I was younger, I'd be able to eat a bunch of fast food and I had no issues with digestion. Now, when I eat a bunch of fast food, my stomach doesn't feel good, my gut doesn't feel good, and ultimately it affects my whole body. So I'm way more aware of that. I try to focus on whole food. Now, in terms of working out, I no longer focus on just upper body because that creates a lot of imbalances and you're not gonna be proportionate as a bodybuilder. So I pretty much schedule out all my training sessions now, make sure that I'm trying to hit every body part twice a week and really focus on my lagging body parts, such as like my hamstrings, my rear delts, and my back. I've been trying to really focus on my weak areas, and something that I also incorporated in the past 8 years was training legs more consistently. When I first started training, like I said, I didn't train any legs. All I cared was about getting a massive bench and increasing my strength. Now I really focus on balance because in order to have a good physique, your physique must be balanced. So these are the supplements that I take now. Obviously, you see that the weight gainer is not in my supplement stack, but I'll break down to you why I take these supplements. So the first supplements that I take is a greens, a multivitamin, and omega. So this is pretty much what I take to ensure I get my proper micronutrients in. This has all my vitamins in there. This has superfoods, digestive enzymes, and antioxidants, and then I get my omega-3s in. Now, second will be protein. Now, protein is just super important for hitting my macros, which is my protein goals for the day. The reason why I like the Rule 1 is because it's a mix of isolate and hydrolyze. Now, you can take any protein powder of your choice, but I've been taking the Rule 1 right now. Secondly is for just performance and strength. Performance, I use EAAs, which is amino acids. I take that during my training. and then I'll take Impact Pump. So the Impact Pump is actually a stimulant-free pre-workout, meaning there's no caffeine, just because sometimes if I train at night, I don't want too much caffeine or any caffeine at all. So I'll take this, which helps the pumps. Now, another product that I use for performance is obviously creatine. Now, your body naturally produces creatine, and you actually get creatine through animal-based proteins such as steak and fish. However, I do recommend supplementing with 5 grams of creatine. Now, because your body doesn't produce enough creatine, that's why I recommend to take it in supplement form, and you'd have to eat a lot of chicken, steak, or fish to get the right amount of creatine. So creatine is just gonna help with overall strength. And lastly, glutamine. Glutamine is super beneficial for recovery. I don't find this necessity same as EAAs, but they're great for just the recovery aspect if you do wanna have the added benefit. So I just got my meal. I got my 8-ounce steak, some rice, some egg whites, and some rye toast. That's the end of today's video. I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you like, comment, and of course, subscribe.